Have you ever felt drained after spending time with someone you love? You walk away feeling smaller, quieter, almost invisible. It's confusing, isn't it? Because love is supposed to lift you up, not wear you down. But sometimes what we call love is actually emotional erosion, slow, silent, and deeply harmful. I'm Dr. Rosalia Viterbo. And today I want to talk about something most people don't notice until it's already too late: the toxic psychological signs that a relationship is damaging your mental health. This isn't about blaming women or men, it's about understanding behaviors that destroy trust, safety, and emotional connection. Because when your mind and body live under constant stress, it's not just your heart that suffers, it's your whole health. So if your partner constantly criticizes you, dismisses your feelings, or uses silence as punishment, that's not passion, that's control, and you deserve better. In the next few minutes, I'll explain the key psychological signs that show when love has turned toxic and how to protect your emotional well-being with calm, clear decisions. Because real love heals. It doesn't make you question your worth. Let's talk about what happens when it does, and why sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is walk away. We often think of relationships as emotional homes, places where we feel safe, seen, and supported. But what happens when that home becomes chaotic? When love starts to feel like walking on eggshells? Many people stay in relationships that slowly drain their confidence. They tell themselves it's just a rough phase. They hope that if they love harder, things will change. But emotional toxicity doesn't heal with effort alone. It deepens with silence and denial. You might start noticing little things first. Your opinions are dismissed. Your achievements are minimized. Maybe you're told you're too sensitive when you express hurt. These moments seem small, but they slowly train your mind to doubt itself. And that's when the body begins to respond. Chronic stress raises your heart rate, increases cortisol, and affects your sleep. You feel tired all the time, not because you're lazy, but because emotional conflict has turned into physical fatigue. Have you ever caught yourself apologizing for things you didn't even do wrong? Or felt anxious before seeing your partner, unsure which version of them you'll meet today? That's your nervous system signaling danger, not from outside threats, but from emotional instability. The truth is, toxic behaviors often hide behind love's language. They can sound like concern. I just want what's best for you, or affection. You know I only say that because I care. But real care doesn't control. Real love doesn't make you feel small. Understanding this difference is essential, because when your relationship starts costing your peace, your health pays the price next. In a moment, I'll walk you through the key psychological patterns to watch for and how to recognize when it's time to protect your mind, your heart, and your future. Because emotional safety isn't a luxury, it's a basic human need. Let's talk about the signs, the ones that tell you it's time to step back, reflect, and maybe walk away. These patterns aren't always loud. They often appear in subtle, everyday moments. But over time, they shape your mental health, your self-esteem, and your ability to love safely again. First, constant criticism disguised as honesty. A healthy partner gives feedback with care. A toxic one uses honesty as a weapon. It starts small. Comments about your clothes, your body, your choices. They may say, "I'm just being honest," but the words cut deep. Honesty without kindness isn't truth. It's cruelty dressed up as concern. When you're constantly criticized, your brain starts to associate love with pain. You question yourself before speaking. You overthink every action, afraid it might trigger another honest remark. Over time, this erodes confidence. You start to shrink, not physically, but emotionally. And you tell yourself it's love because it's familiar. But remember this, love that hurts your self-worth isn't love. It's control through humiliation. If you find yourself changing who you are just to be accepted, pause. Healthy love celebrates growth. It doesn't demand surrender. Second, emotional manipulation through guilt or silence. One of the most damaging behaviors in relationships is emotional withdrawal. It's when someone uses silence, guilt, or avoidance to make you chase approval. They might say, "You're too emotional," or withdraw affection when you disagree. This creates a cycle where you start apologizing just to restore peace. That's not peace. That's emotional conditioning. From a psychological perspective, this is known as intermittent reinforcement. Your brain becomes hooked on unpredictable validation, like a slot machine. You stay because sometimes they're kind, and you crave that version of them. But love shouldn't feel like a gamble. If silence is being used as punishment, your nervous system stays on alert, and over time, it burns out. Recognize this pattern early. Healthy communication means listening, not withdrawing. If they can't handle a calm discussion without turning it into punishment, that's emotional immaturity. Third, disrespect for boundaries. Boundaries are the foundation of self-respect. When a partner ignores them, they're not just testing limits, they're testing your tolerance. Maybe you said you need space and they showed up anyway. Or you asked not to discuss something and they brought it up in front of others. Each time this happens, you lose a bit of your autonomy. From a medical point of view, chronic boundary violations activate the stress response system. Your brain releases cortisol and adrenaline, fight or flight hormones, even when there's no physical threat. Over time, that leads to anxiety, fatigue, and even immune suppression. Respect isn't optional. When someone truly loves you, they protect your peace, not invade it. So ask yourself, do they listen when you say no? Or do they push until you give in? That difference defines whether your relationship is healthy or harmful. Fourth, control masquerading as care. This one is tricky because it often feels like love. They want to know where you are, who you're with, what you're doing. At first, it feels flattering. They care about me. But soon, it becomes exhausting. You start reporting your every move. You ask for permission instead of sharing plans. And when you don't, they accuse you of hiding something. That's not protection, that's possession. From a psychological lens, this behavior stems from insecurity and the need for dominance. But no amount of love can fix that for them. You can support, but you can't heal what someone refuses to acknowledge. If love starts to feel like surveillance, it's time to reclaim your freedom. Real care encourages independence, not dependency. Finally, emotional neglect and lack of empathy. Sometimes the most painful relationships aren't abusive, they're indifferent. You talk, but they don't listen. You cry, but they don't respond. You reach out, and all you feel is distance. Emotional neglect doesn't leave bruises, but it leaves deep psychological scars. When your emotions are constantly ignored, you start believing they don't matter. And that belief follows you into future relationships. It's a form of emotional malnutrition. You're giving love, but not being nourished by it. Remember, empathy is a basic component of healthy love. It's what allows connection, repair, and understanding. Without it, you're just existing beside someone, not truly with them. If you're always the one explaining, fixing, or forgiving, something's off balance. Partnership means mutual effort. And if you're the only one trying, it's not partnership, it's survival. So how do you begin to heal from this? First, acknowledge the reality. You can't change what you refuse to name. Second, reach out for support. A therapist, a trusted friend, or even journaling. Speaking your truth breaks the cycle of silence. And finally, give yourself permission to leave. Not in anger, but in clarity. Because staying in a relationship that costs your peace is too high a price to pay. Healing starts the moment you choose yourself. And that choice isn't selfish, it's survival. Let's take a breath. Everything we've discussed today isn't about judgment, it's about awareness. Toxic patterns don't always look dangerous at first. They can sound loving, feel familiar, even seem protective. That's why so many people stay, not because they're weak, but because they still hope. But love should not make you anxious. It should not make you doubt your worth. If you constantly feel tense, silenced, or afraid of doing something wrong, your body is telling you the truth long before your mind admits it. Remember the key signs: constant criticism disguised as honesty, emotional manipulation through guilt or silence, disrespect for boundaries, control that feels like care, and emotional neglect that makes you feel unseen. These aren't small issues. They are red flags that slowly wear down your emotional and physical health. You deserve a relationship that gives you space to grow, to breathe, and to feel safe being yourself. Because real love is not built on fear or control or guilt. It's built on trust, empathy, and freedom. If you've recognized these signs in your life, don't rush to blame yourself. Awareness is the first step toward healing, and healing takes time, compassion, and courage. Always listen to your body. If your chest tightens when you think of someone, if your energy drops after being with them, pay attention. That's not just stress. It's your system responding to emotional harm. Your peace is not negotiable, and your health, mental, emotional, and physical, depends on how you protect it. So remember this: walking away isn't giving up. It's honoring the love you still have for yourself. Let that be your starting point, not the end of something, but the beginning of peace. If today's message spoke to you, take a quiet moment after this video. Reflect on how your relationships make you feel. Not what they look like to others, but what they do to your peace inside. Because the truth is simple. Your health begins with emotional safety, and emotional safety begins with self-respect. If you found this talk helpful, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Each week, we explore how your mind and body work together, in love, in stress, and in healing. You'll learn how small psychological shifts can transform not just your relationships, but your overall well-being. Remember, you're not alone in this. Millions of people are quietly rebuilding their strength after emotional harm. You can too, calmly, steadily, and without shame. Your future relationships can be peaceful. They can be safe. They can bring joy, not exhaustion. And that begins with awareness. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take care of your mind, your heart, and your health. I'm Dr. Rosalia Viterbo, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourself, and remember, peace is not selfish, it's necessary.